So here we go, advice to my younger self. So I wrote this all while I was driving. I think I talked about this before, but this is within the first batch of beats that Apollo Brown sent me. I think this may have been the second song that I wrote. Yeah, this was the second song. So he sent me a bunch of beats. I think he sent me like 5 beats at a time, 4 beats at a time. Playing this in the car. Wrote this in the car.
I'm talking to you. Come over here, man. Let me holler at you for a second. Yo, put the ball down, man.
And I got the idea of the song because he already had that sample of like kids in the playground in the beginning. So I was like, this feels like kids playing. And probably when I was driving around, I'm seeing kids like playing around. So then I came up with the concept of talking to the younger version of myself.
Some real shit. Listen. What's up, little fella? I know you're happy and feeling hopeful. I know you play with a sense of love and your heart is noble.
What's up, little fella? I know you're happy and feeling hopeful. So basically, I'm speaking to the younger version of me who doesn't have any worries in life. You know what I'm saying? Who doesn't have any responsibilities? Who isn't worried about the outside shit that's going on? He's just happy with life. I know you're happy and feeling noble. I know you... Hold on.
Feeling hopeful. I know you play with a sense of love and your heart is noble.
I know you play with a sense of love and your heart is noble. So at this time, you know, when you're 6, 7, 8, even 10 years old, you're just out here playing. At least I was like, I grew up in Richmond, so there's things that's going on in the world, violence, these kind of things, but you don't really know the consequences of it when you're that young. You're just kind of playing. You just want to get to the next day so you can see your friends and you can play. So, you just have this carefree spirit. No worries, basically.
I know you vocally haven't learned to express whatever repressed trauma. You're still young, you feel it less.
So basically right there, I know you haven't learned to express whatever repressed trauma. You're still young, you feel it less. So because even though I'm young at this time, I'm 7, 8 years old, there are some things that I've went through that have traumatized me that I may not really realize it. Because when you're young, you can just bounce back from things, or you can just bury things or put things away. Things that you've experienced, things that you've seen, things that you've witnessed. They affect you, but they don't affect you. They may not affect you immediately at that time. So you're able to repress them, but you don't realize that you're repressing them. You're just going through life.
And unless you talk about it, it follows you like a cloud, or some heavy baggage you had to drag through a crowd.
Unless you talk about it, it follows you like a cloud, or some heavy baggage. Hold on.
And unless you talk about it, it follows you like a cloud, or some heavy baggage you had to drag through a crowd.
Or some heavy baggage you have to drag through a crowd. So basically, that baggage, that trauma, those things that affected you, unless you talk about it, it's going to weigh you down. You're going to have to carry that shit around with you. So, just like the metaphor of just having baggage, you know what I mean? So that is the heavy baggage you have to drag through a crowd.
But for now, it's just a drop in the well. You shake it off, never speak it again till your career's taken off. So basically, actually what I'm talking about, I'm referring to the matters that happened to me on the hardest song ever. For those of you guys who don't know, I've talked about it extensively about what happened to me as a kid on the hardest song ever. So basically, I'm kind of referring to that younger, like, I know you've went through this recently, and if you don't talk about it, it's going to drag you, it's going to have an effect on you later. So basically, I'm giving myself that advice, to the younger version of me. Now it's just a drop in the well, you shake it off, never speak it again till your career's taken off. But we often overlook what we look upon in the rear view. You never touch a drug because your parents won't let it. Now it's just a drop. We often overlook what we look upon in the rear view. You never touch a drug because your parents won't let it near you. So basically, I'm saying, around this time, when you're a young kid, you become a teenager, people start fucking with, weed, start fucking with alcohol, drugs, whatever. Whether you're smoking it, whether you're selling it,
And I'm telling you, like, look, you never gonna fuck with those things. You know what I mean? Because you have parents that care about you. They're good examples. You have mentors, brothers and sisters, whoever, that were showing you good examples to keep you away from the shit. And still to this day, I've never done any drugs, never smoked any weed, never did any other things. So I'm basically just talking to myself from, you know what I mean, 20, 30 years ago.
In the well, you shake it off, never speak it again till your career's taking off. But we often overlook
what we look upon in the rear view. You never touch a drug because your parents won't let it near you.
You dabble with addiction to money, women, and stardom, but the camera lens can be a narcotic. Don't try to bargain.
You dabble with addiction to money, women, and stardom, but the camera lens can be a narcotic. Don't try to bargain. So basically, you don't mess with drugs or alcohol, but the women and the fame and the stardom, that can be an addiction too. So be careful, because you know what I'm saying, when you flirt with that, be careful, because that won't be a bargain for you in the end.
If you barter with a sense of morality, more tragedy befalls the foundation. I hope you found you some patience. I hope you don't put your faith in man, it never helps. Even trust could be a vice. Some advice to my younger self.
I hope you don't put your trust in man. I hope you don't put your trust in man. So basically, putting your trust in another human being, giving them the same trust that you should only give to something higher, like the creator. If you put your trust in them, most of the time you're going to get let down. So and then I say, if trust can be advice, even trust can be a vice. Some advice to my younger self. So a vice is something that can be your downfall, the thing that you can't stop doing. So giving people your trust, that can be advice too. It can hurt you. Even trust can be advice, some advice to my younger self. So I'm telling myself, be careful. Some advice to my younger self. Some advice to my younger self. Some advice to my younger self. All right, we're going to get back to that. Let me take a little break, see what y'all talking about. Somebody said, bro, take some shrooms. Oh, man, y'all crazy as hell, man. Even trust could be advice, some advice to my younger self. Shout out to everybody making donations in the Martin Minner, Matthew Abello, Tyler Ecker, Elione, David Blacknail. Appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much for showing love to the page, making donations. Okay, let's get back to this advice to my younger self. Let's get back to this.
Even trust could be advice, some advice. And I tell you, never play it safe and never
settle for second.
Never hesitate, not even just for a second.
Never play it safe and never settle for second. So never play it safe and settle for second place. Like, never just do what's comfortable. Always try to push yourself. And that's something that I'm telling you, this is things that I need to work on. These are things that I'm telling the younger me, like, yo, don't settle for second. Never settle for second. Don't be complacent. Always push yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Never second guess if you say it, then manifest it. But be careful who you say it to. Some people are trying to test it.
Ooh, hold on.
Never second guess if you say it, then manifest it.
Never second guess if you say it, then manifest it. If you say something, be prepared to act on it. Don't just talk about what you're going to do. Say it and make it happen. This is very important. And be careful who you share it. Some people will try to...
But be careful who you say it to. Some people are trying to test it.
Some people will try to test it. So be careful. Like, sometimes, man, people like to talk about what they're going to do all the time. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And you sharing it too. But sometimes you need to focus that energy on actually doing it instead of talking about it, especially when you're sharing it with other people, because some people don't have your best interest. So be careful who you share your dreams and your goals with, because sometimes they'll try to downplay you. They'll try to put you down. They'll try to make you feel like your dreams aren't worth anything, or they'll act like they have your best interest, but they really don't. So be careful. Instead of talking about it, do it and see who really holds you down.
If you think, use reflection. Have sex, then use protection.
If you think, use reflection. Have sex, then use protection. So this is the older me telling me, like, yo, don't just be going around sticking in every, you know what I'm saying? Like, and if you do, use protection, because, When you're young, you make those mistakes. I mean, when you're old, you can make those mistakes too, but especially when you're young.
If you meet a girl and don't, then make sure you have a connection.
If you meet a girl and you don't, make sure you have a connection. So if you do meet a girl and you decide to take that chance, you know what could happen. You can end up having a baby. So make sure you have a connection. Don't just be running around thinking you can just take something from a woman or give yourself to a woman and don't think that there can be some consequences. So this is me talking to my younger self. Like when you do, you know, when you go out there and you start dating women, make sure when you become close with someone, make sure it's someone that you have a connection with. You know, it's not always just about the instant gratification.
If you meet a girl and don't, then
make sure you have a connection.
If she keeps it, then you're stuck with that woman, don't want to hear it. If she doesn't, then the guilt you feel later will kill your spirit.
So if she keeps it, meaning like if she has a baby and she keeps it, and then you're gonna have to deal with her later, it's gonna be a problem. So make sure that you find a woman. If you're gonna take these chances to be with a woman, make sure it's somebody you have a real connection with. That's not just about what's physical or what's in front of your face, what's surface. Make sure it's somebody that you have an actual connection with. Because if she does end up having a baby and she keeps it, guess what? You're gonna have to deal with this woman or this partner for the rest of your life. And yeah.
Woman don't want to hear it. If she doesn't, then the guilt you feel later will kill your spirit. Make sure you earn some money, but money is not your God.
Woo! Make sure you earn some money, but money is not your God. That means money is not the motivation for everything you do. Of course, we need money. Of course, you want money, but don't worship money.
Just a means to purchase things. Put family before your job.
Just a means to purchase things. Put family before your job. So make sure that you, and I can be guilty of this, don't put your job, your career before your family and the people that you love. What really truly matters.
Put God before your family and love before you.
But put God before your family. So basically God, family, work, career, you know what I mean?
Your lust, protect yourself at all times. Put truth before trust.
Protect yourself at all times. Put truth before trust. So sometimes, going back to the trust thing, sometimes when you see the facts of things, people are showing you who they are, but you don't want to see it because you love that person and you want to give them the benefit of the doubt. You want to give them the trust, but they're showing who you are. So that's the truth of the matter. Sometimes you can't keep doing that.
Never fuss with ignorant folks. Actions are much louder. You retreat to keep the peace. That does not make you a coward.
If you retreat to keep the peace, that does not make you a coward. So just because if you're arguing with somebody, you have a disagreement with somebody, if you retreat, if you say, you know what, I'm going to fall back, that doesn't make you a coward. It just means that you don't want to argue. You don't want to fight with somebody because you know this battle isn't worth it. You need to focus your energy on doing what you need to do, not arguing with somebody that you're not going to change their mind.
And if you focus on you, you can never go unfelt. Not a lecture, just a lesson I give to my younger self.
If you focus on you, you can never go unfelt. Not a lecture, just a lesson I give to my younger self. Advice to my younger self. Just advice to my younger self. Some advice to my younger self.
Even trust could be advice. Some advice.
Woo. All right, let me know if you guys are feeling that review.